These celebrities do not like Megyn Kelly.
Megyn Kelly made a name for herself as an outspoken contributor to several news shows, but plenty of her peers are now making waves by speaking out against her.
And honestly, Megyn, if you don't like it, I'm sorry.
Host Samantha Bee poked fun at Megyn Kelly's attempt to wrangle the candidates during the first GOP presidential debate.
The president disliked Megyn Kelly during his 2016 campaign. Megyn Kelly and the president were at odds from the moment the 2016 campaign season began to heat up, and their clashes went fully public during the first Republican presidential debate in August 2015.
When Kelly asked about Hillary Clinton's assertion that he was part of a war on women, Trump replied,
I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me.
Megyn, serving as a moderator, confronted the then candidate about his history of negative remarks toward women, noting how it might play out against Hillary Clinton, his eventual Democratic opponent. The president seemed unimpressed by her line of questioning and largely dismissed any critiques of political correctness, rolling his eyes at those who took offense to his language.
Trump described Kelly's questions as vicious and unfair. He called her a bimbo and said that she was a lightweight who was highly overrated.
After the debate, the former reality star and business mogul headed to the social media platform X to take aim at Megyn's performance, posting, "Wow, Megyn really did bad tonight. People are going wild on Twitter. Funny to watch." Far from letting it end there, the future chief executive proceeded to criticize Megyn during a CNN interview a few days later, declaring that he had little respect for her. In his view, Megyn was simply reading from a script, doing so poorly, and thus he saw no reason to credit her intelligence or skill. The subsequent remark that truly lit up the internet was his infamous blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever statement. Many commentators immediately labeled it a reference to menstruation, a retort with deeply anti-feminist undertones, though the president insisted he was talking about her nose. Nonetheless, the damage was done. Critics on both sides saw the comment as crossing a line of decency. The negative press, however, didn't deter him from criticizing Megyn repeatedly throughout the campaign. In November 2015, he took to X once more to accuse the journalist of only highlighting poll numbers that showed him trailing behind, never the ones in which he excelled. This contentious cycle continued well into his tenure in office, though Megyn's own professional path diverged significantly from Fox News by that point. Jane Fonda found one of Megyn Kelly's questions inappropriate. In September 2017, Jane Fonda appeared on Megyn's NBC morning show, Megyn Kelly Today, and the tension between the two was palpable. At first, Megyn praised Jane's phenomenal longevity and good looks. Then she asked the legendary actor, who has often spoken in broad terms about her cosmetic procedures, why she refused to detail her plastic surgeries in a recent W magazine interview. There was an unmistakable flash of irritation in Jane's eyes. She paused, offered Megyn a chilly glance, and responded, "We really want to talk about that?" She briefly credited her youthful appearance to good genes and a lot of money, then redirected the conversation to the film she was promoting, Our Souls at Night, apparently intent on dodging further surgery talk. The moment went viral for its comedic awkwardness, but the story only grew when Variety later asked Jane for her thoughts. Jane revealed she was stunned by the question and declared it inappropriate. To the Oscar-winning actress, this exchange signaled that Megyn was out of her depth as an interviewer, focusing on cosmetic procedures when Jane was there to discuss her newest project. As public chatter about the incident persisted, Megyn countered in January 2018 that she had asked about the surgeries because aging was a major theme of Our Souls at Night. She also argued that Jane had frequently spoken about her plastic surgeries in past interviews, so Megyn didn't view it as a taboo topic. But the friction only intensified when Megyn used her show to dredge up a litany of Jane's past scandals, seemingly implying that Jane had no moral high ground to label the question inappropriate. Ultimately, their public back and forth showed no sign of resolution, with Megyn and Jane forever pegged as adversaries. Samantha Bee has criticized Megyn Kelly multiple times. Samantha Bee, host of the late-night series Full Frontal, has consistently taken aim at Megyn Kelly when the latter's opinions or statements cross lines Samantha finds problematic. For instance, In late 2018, Megyn argued on her NBC show that she couldn't see why dressing up in blackface for Halloween was considered offensive. The resulting backlash was swift. Among those leading the charge was Samantha, who aired a segment in which Full Frontal correspondent Ashley Nicole Black gave a pointed history lesson on the racist roots of blackface. Samantha humorously jumped in to quip about cartoon characters that might reflect Megyn's own comedic downfall, poking fun at the Fox News alum's lack of historical awareness. But Samantha's critiques of Megyn didn't start or end with the blackface scandal. Back in 2017, Samantha spoke to the Santa Barbara Independent about how her show was distinct from more sensational commentary shows like Megyn's. She argued that Full Frontal offered analysis rather than hysteria, and further implied that talk hosts who rely on hype and manipulation, lumping Megyn in with Alex Jones, were preying on gullibility to forge a career. So it was no surprise that Samantha took delight in pressing Megyn's buttons when events arose. Ironically, in 2019, they found themselves reporting to jury duty at the same time, and a Page Six insider claimed that Megyn tried repeatedly to engage Samantha in conversation. Samantha B apparently wanted nothing to do with Megyn, an anecdote that perfectly encapsulated the frosty nature of their relationship. Trevor Noah and Michelle Wolf questioned Megyn Kelly's journalistic abilities. Trevor Noah, famed for hosting The Daily Show, became a vocal critic of Megyn Kelly in 2016 when she snagged a high-profile interview with the president. Hopes were high that she would press him on divisive comments, thoroughly challenging the then-candidate. Instead, watchers saw Megyn inquire about the emotional underpinnings of his often bombastic behavior, leading many to label the interview a softball session. Trevor was disappointed she didn't keep her foot on the gas pedal, especially when the president brushed aside his negative tweets about Megyn herself, calling her names. The future office holder's mocking response was delivered with laughter, and Megyn merely joined in, prompting Trevor to go at the conversation as the total opposite of what serious news viewers had expected. Megyn responded indignantly to Trevor's criticism on X, suggesting that, as a man, he had no clue how it felt to be on the other end of that. But this stance wobbled when, in 2017, Daily Show correspondent Michelle Wolf took on Megyn's interview with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Michelle labeled Megyn someone so conniving and manipulative that the whole special looked more like an attempt to rebrand than an exposé. More damningly, Michelle recalled Megyn's track record at Fox, describing her old persona as a pretty race-baiting puppet. For Michelle, Megyn's newfound moderate tone at NBC wasn't enough to make people forget her previous rhetoric. The comedic correspondent hammered home that Megyn could not successfully recast herself as a measured, well-intentioned journalist without addressing her past stances on race and politics. Naomi Osaka apparently blocked Megyn Kelly on X. In 2021, tennis superstar Naomi Osaka announced that she was withdrawing from the French Open, citing the need to protect her mental health. The move made headlines worldwide, igniting debate on how much responsibility star athletes bear in dealing with media obligations. Many respected her decision, but Megyn voiced skepticism, pointing out that Naomi had still chosen to appear on magazine covers like Time and Vogue Japan, indirectly implying that if Naomi could pose for glamorous shoots, she shouldn't be too anxious to field press questions at tennis matches. Naomi quickly clapped back, tweeting that Megyn should do her journalistic homework first. If she had, said Naomi, she would know that magazine covers are often finalized months in advance, well before any mention of the French Open meltdown. Megyn shot back to reveal proudly that Naomi had blocked her on the social media platform, hinting that perhaps the athlete wasn't interested in a real conversation. But that wasn't the end of the feud. Megyn questioned Naomi's sincerity, insinuating that the tennis champion was using mental health concerns to dodge tough press questions. Sports Illustrated swimsuit editor MJ Day, who'd worked with Naomi, publicly defended the athlete, labeling Megyn a bully for not fact-checking before lashing out. Day said it was irresponsible for Megyn to push such baseless negativity on a global star who'd already opened up about anxiety and depression. While Megyn seemed to move on to other things soon enough, The Naomi spat lingered as an example of how the anchor's combative style could backfire when she tackled personal matters without carefully verifying the facts. Sarah Silverman and John Oliver had their own respective run-ins with Megyn Kelly. Sarah Silverman is another comedic performer who found herself at odds with Megyn's approach. In February 2019, the president took to X to insult Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar in a string of profane tweets. Sarah, a vocal critic of the president, came back with insults of her own. Megyn then interjected online, questioning how Disney, which had previously employed Sarah on the child-friendly Wreck-It Ralph franchise, could tolerate the comedian's foul language while also marketing her to kids. Sarah Silverman responded on social media that yes, she was an explicit, often political comedian who also liked to do voice work for children's content, and that nuance was a thing. She pointed out that Megyn's tweet was missing the bigger picture, a real-time issue about climate change that the president was ignoring in favor of ridiculing his political rivals. She even used Megyn's rhetorical jab to promote the digital release of Ralph Breaks the Internet, turning the criticism into a slick publicity move. Meanwhile, John Oliver took his own shot at Megyn in 2017. An episode of HBO's Last Week Tonight ran a clip of Megyn asserting that her new program aimed to be a unifying force in a polarized America. John Oliver then cut to a montage of Megyn spouting questionable remarks, some of which were racially insensitive. The comedic effect was stark. While Megyn claimed to be moderate and bridging divides, John Oliver's team meticulously documented her track record of divisive and polarizing statements, from her time at Fox to her short-lived stint on NBC. What do you guys think of Megyn Kelly? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you have a great day.